Only reflecting the tastes of, the elite cinema.
We can't even say anything because it's so tense.
Yeah.
Hey guys, it's Phoebe. Welcome to Watch Mojo. And today we are giving our definitive rank for all of the Best Picture nominees for the 92nd Academy Awards. I am joined today by my colleagues and friends, Matt, Noah, and Liam. Let's just get right into it.
So can you tell us about this look? When we spoke earlier, you mentioned that this look is not a political statement. Is that right?
That's right, Mary. I'm not political. I'm just trying to make people laugh.
This video was made in partnership with Noobie, who are just as obsessed with movies as we are. Head over to Noobie.com for a closer look at all the movies everyone's talking about, plus tickets, trailers, games, and more.
Number 9, Jojo Rabbit. So coming in hot at number 9, we have Jojo Rabbit. Now this is a pretty controversial movie, I think, all around.
Yeah, I mean, there was a lot of stuff that came out about this movie beforehand because, Taika Waititi was coming off Thor Ragnarok, and his choice for his next movie was to literally play an imaginary version of Adolf Hitler in Nazi Germany.
Yeah.
So pretty bold, yeah.
Anytime you make a movie about Nazis, it's and especially when it's a satire, it's like, oh, you're towing a pretty fine line here.
Taika was severely underused in this movie.
But I enjoyed
himself?
that.
Yeah, I guess he wanted to put the spotlight on ScarJo's bad accent.
I know a lot of people really love Jojo Rabbit. It actually, the conversation around this movie reminds me a little bit of when Green Book came out last year. I think Jojo Rabbit is way better than Green Book. Let me just put that out there.
It is my feeling that your diction, however charming it may be in the tri-state area, could use some finessing.
But just sort of the messaging of it, the feel good, let's all be friends, kind of positivity doesn't work quite as well in a movie about Nazi Germany, which features Nazis as protagonists and sympathetic characters.
I just kind of think that the movie doesn't accomplish what it set out to, and I think that we've talked about that a lot since we saw it, that it's kind of like it doesn't go far enough to be like a satire that says anything meaningful, and it kind of is also going too far in a way to what you said, where it kind of portrays people in a very positive light, which is kind of a confusing message for a film that sets out to kind of like debunk and, take people down.
I think if you're going to go in on a satire about Nazism, you kind of have to go all in or not at all.
Yeah.
And I definitely think this movie didn't go far enough, or it just kind of like was way too safe for me.
I love the line though when he's like talking about how he's ugly because he's scarred and stuff, and he's like, and his mom's like, no, it's fine. Like, I was cursed with beauty. Look at me. And it's like, it was pretty good. Little nod to how good.
The reverse of the
she
Marriage
is.
Story character.
Okay.
Yeah. She's okay.
I don't know. It just didn't really do it for me.
Are we kind of maybe like looking at it with too much of a magnifying glass? Like when it comes down to it, the way I look at it, isn't it just like a movie about this kid who's growing up and learning as he grows up? He meets this young Jewish girl, and then, his mind starts to open up. If you look at it from just that simple perspective, which I think is obviously like the main part of the movie, are we overblowing it by trying to, dilute with minutia and stuff like that?
Really marketed as a satire of that.
I just don't think the execution quite worked for me, and clearly for you guys as well.
All right, and with that, let's head over to number 8. Number 8, Ford versus Ferrari. All right, coming in at number 8, we got Ford versus Ferrari. Now, this is kind of like a return to traditional filmmaking. It's kind of like one of those really feel-good stories, and I think people really like that. They really need that right now.
Enzo spent every lira he's got chasing perfection. You know something? He got there. But now he's broke.
Yeah, they make out Ferrari to be not cool in this movie, so I mean, yeah.
I got into a Ford after I saw this movie. I was driving a Ford home, and it was lovely.
Felt patriotic.
I felt very patriotic, even though we're Canadian.
Is it a GT?
No.
I didn't go into Ford v Ferrari expecting to like it. I'd heard really good buzz, and it's from James Mangold, who did Logan, which obviously is a movie I liked a lot. And I came out of Ford v Ferrari being like, did I really was that awesome? Was it just me? It's just such a well-told story. It's such a well-crafted movie. One could say it's a well-oiled machine. I wouldn't, but some people might say it. Noah Jupe, so good in A Quiet Place, Honey Boy, so many movies.
And I can attest he's a real sweetheart. We met him on the red carpet at TIFF, and he was so sweet.
Wait, what's your name? Phoebe. Nice to meet you. How are you?
Okay, well maybe Noah Jupe and I will be friends one day. Just the performances are great. Matt Damon is really, really good in this. Christian Bale, SAG nominated, snubbed at the Oscars.
Yeah, actually
Snubbed.
Well, that's coming later. only.
I think it's a solid movie, but again, with Jojo Rabbit, I feel like it's a solid movie and not much more than that.
Yeah.
I don't see the Best Picture label to this movie.
It's at number 8. I think it's a little low, to be honest.
Really?
Yeah. It's like, it's done so simple, but like I said, it's done in like an incredibly perfect way. There's nothing wrong with this movie.
Well,
I'm combing through it and I'm like, what's wrong with this movie?
Well,
I can't think of anything.
Compared to the other movies on this list, I think that we'll see very soon.
Yeah.
This movie is just kind of like even keel, very
Yeah.
safe kind
Yeah.
of choice. I think that we should move on to number 7 and see what's going on there. Number 7, Joker. All right, coming in at number 7, the Clown Prince of Crime. I think that this is a bit of a contentious rank, especially for our audience, which I know are crazy for Joker.
I think I'm the biggest defender of this movie on this panel. I think if
Defender?
I wasn't here, you guys would have put this last.
It deserves to be dead last, to be honest, which is very strange for me
Matt
because
coming out strong against Joker.
I was kind of going into it thinking, I'm not going to expect much, but I actually really enjoyed it. But then the more time that passed by, I was just kept thinking of it, and I was like, there's nothing special about this movie. It's just copying the best Martin Scorsese movies, and it's just banking on the fact that it's the Joker with like clown makeup on his face.
Because like Todd Phillips got his start in like making like a lot of like punk inspired.
The G.G. Allen documentary.
Yeah, the G.G. Allen documentary. Like this, I wish the movie went more in on this kind of like really
There's
like punk rock aesthetic of like him like dyeing his. I love the image of him dyeing his hair green in this thing.
Yes, okay. I mean, I don't think it's like unfair to say that it is like kind of shamelessly derivative of like Taxi Driver, the king of comedy, like network to a degree.
Yeah.
And I'm a little more like in the middle of you guys. I'm not an ardent defender. I don't hate Joker.
Yeah.
I think that Joker has interesting things on its mind about mental illness and how we treat the underprivileged in society. I mean, that sort of
Society.
Oh, no, I said it. If I say it 3 times, the Joker appears. It's a bit melodramatic at points.
Exactly.
Sort of the Thomas Wayne, Joker's mother kind of dynamic.
I'm not on either side where I think it's bad or it's good that it was nominated for Best Picture. I definitely like watched this movie late also, and so I had been like so hyped up, and I think that for the most part, Joaquin Phoenix's performance really lives up to the hype, that it created.
Yeah.
I think that that's really the most exceptional thing about this movie, because I know, like you were kind of alluding to the fact that this movie has like really powerful things to say. I don't know that it succeeds in saying those things.
Yeah, it doesn't.
It looks amazing. The cinematography is
100%.
gorgeous.
And the score.
The score is great. I think where this movie really fails is the script. I think the script is absolutely atrocious. I think it's nominated for
Yeah,
best
it's been
screenplay,
adapted,
right?
yeah.
I think
Yeah.
it's like the talk show scene is pretty bad.
They think that we'll just sit there and take it like good little boys, that we won't werewolf and go wild.
You finished?
It scratches the surface on like social issues that they try and touch upon. It's just, it doesn't go deep enough for me. So number 7's pretty high.
All right,
in my
so
opinion.
let's see what beat Joker on our list. Number 6, Little Women. Little Women, directed by Greta Gerwig, an adaptation of a classic story. I think that this is personally my favorite movie of the year. I think 6 is criminally low.
Yes.
We were saying last time, like, as soon as I started watching it, I don't know why I was like choked up the whole time. It just felt like such a special little movie about Little Women.
So my question for you then is, why is it so low? Like, I'm actually really upset that it's only number 6.
I mean, like the movies ahead of this are incredible films.
Yeah.
It took like 5 minutes of watching this movie for me to be like, this is so great. Like, it's just so warm, and it's so, there's like the Christmassy element there that's just like so great.
During the holidays, perfect.
The score is gorgeous.
Yeah.
I mean, the performances are amazing. I keep talking about the performances in all these movies, but like, I can't help but gush about Saoirse Ronan, Florence Pugh especially, who's having a banner year.
Playing a 13-year-old.
That was pretty funny.
Strange.
Yeah.
I only found that out later, and I was like, okay.
Florence Pugh
this
in
is her
this
Oscar
movie.
scene.
Is fantastic.
She's the standout in this movie.
It takes everything that's good about this story and brings it to another level.
Yeah.
So like you said, with the Amy March character, who is just like notorious for being this awful, awful character that people hate, that Florence Pugh brings such a charm to this character, such a great motivation.
Yeah.
And I think that what I love most about this movie is that it really shows women in an unpolished light that's so refreshing and so liberating as a woman to watch that and be like, it's okay to be in like crazy and silly and playful fun. Like, it's just so liberating to watch women be women.
No.
Let's get
No.
into number 5. Number 5, 1917. All right, this movie kind of took everybody by storm towards the end of the year. Like, I hadn't really heard that much about it leading up to its release, and now I cannot stop hearing about it.
Yeah.
Sam Mendes, obviously an Oscar winner, with working with Roger Deakins, who just won an Oscar for Blade Runner 2049, doing a one-take war movie. It was like he was like checking off boxes. It was like, how can I win another Oscar?
I was pleasantly surprised with 1917.
Yeah, Matt and I were, we were talking about this. I think I was kind of saying like, you get a lot of the boring bits because it's sort of made to look like one take, right? Yeah. And there's a lot of walking around and sitting in cars in this movie. Yeah. And I was like, I don't know, does that kind of detract from the momentum, from the tension of the narrative?
I honestly didn't think so, yeah.
I think that this seems like most likely to me to win Best Picture only because of the history and, you know, the Golden Globes and everything. Yeah. And I think that, like, war movies, you know, we've seen so many war movies time after time. It seems like kind of Oscar bait, but this movie is really special because it just really conveys the humanity as well as, like, the technical feat of doing a movie in one take.
It's so crazy that, like, the opening of this movie is, like, there's, like, 15 minutes in this trench, and I was kind of, like, sitting there. I was like, all right, where are they going with this or whatever? Like, there's that moment where they leave the trench, and it's just, like, it hit me there where I was like, oh, I see what you're doing. You're like, you built this like claustrophobia and then you escape that. It's like, oh my God, this is terrifying.
You don't have that star power that you can kind of instantly connect with them or, you know, like invest in them. So the whole aspect that this is done in one shot really helps that.
You know, where they do put the star power though is in the cameos.
Oh yeah.
Just out of nowhere.
Yeah. Right, yeah.
Anyway, so I think we can all agree that this movie is incredible, that it's very likely to be a contender for Best Picture, but let's move on to number 4. Number 4, Marriage Story. Now, Marriage Story is a bit of a phenomenon. I feel like when it came out, everybody was just going crazy for this movie. It was available on Netflix, so you could just watch it in the comfort of your home. We have Adam Driver, Scarlett Johansson with absolutely phenomenal performances.
I
love
died
this scene
laughing
so much.
the first time I saw this.
It's so, and you can feel that like really anxiety coming from him. Like he's trying so hard to come off as a good dad, and he just keeps making mistakes. And it's just this. When it comes to a head, I was howling with laughter.
This is a movie that I didn't think that I would like because it seemed too much of a pretentious story. A lot of the dialogue to me was really cringy, but I thought that like the themes of the movie were so fantastic and so hilarious.
This, I think, was my personal favorite of the year. So I'm a little sad to see it at 4, but like I said before, the top 5, it's tough. This is a really good top 5. Yeah. I'm glad I watched it alone because there are a lot of waterworks and a lot of things going on, but it really struck a chord with me emotionally, and those are like my favorite types of movies, you know, that leave an impact on you.
She says, I think I'm going to try to go to the Vatican. The Vatican? You'll be standing in line all day long. You'll never get to see anything.
I'm sorry, Bert. Am I paying for this joke?
A lot of people who watch it, a complaint with them I've heard is like, oh, it's like too theatrical. All their lines are very theatrical. It's like I'm watching a play, and I was like, why is that an issue? Like, he's also like a theater director. Of course, his personality is going to be kind of like that.
Yeah.
But I mean, it didn't feel over the top to me or anything like that.
To me, there was some points that I did. I'm not gonna beat around the bush. I thought that, especially that scene that everybody's been referencing, where he's like, "You shouldn't be so sad that I had slept with her. You should be sad that I had a laugh with her," or you know, like it's just a lot of theatrics for a movie that's based so much in reality.
That's part of what I like about this movie. What Noah Baumbach nails kind of about this world is just how lived in it feels, and all these sort of like little details, like the fact that their son still sits in a car seat when he kind of holds their hands to kind of keep them together. While it is not always the most pleasant movie to watch, really kind of lets you feel for both of these characters while not necessarily advocating for one over the other.
But it's never like tonally off also.
No,
like for it to have a scene where a guy cuts his arm with a knife and it's supposed to be the funniest thing ever, and then like the fight scene and that be like the same movie is like incredible.
Yeah, and with that, let's move on to number 3. Number 3, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Do we all love this movie? We actually all saw it together. We actually talked about it on a previous episode of Ranked.
Phoebe does not like it.
I don't,
but I remember her howling with laughter at the theater, screaming.
How can you not love that last scene?
Yeah. Oh boy, there you go. There you go.
That's, you don't mess with Cliff Booth.
That little...
You just don't do it.
I keep coming back to that being like, did I actually like it that much? And then I watch it again, I'm like, each time I have the thought, is this Quentin Tarantino's best movie?
Really?
I just find it interesting the kind of affection he shows for that period of time. Wishing you could go back to the sort of golden age of Hollywood.
If I hear that one more time, I'm going to scream. It's the same way that Joker tries to make a statement about society and fails. It's like the whole the golden age of Hollywood. I just think it's so cliched, and I definitely think that it works in this movie. But I'm so sick and tired of hearing that.
You're
I can't hear it anymore.
Hearing this too, but it's literally just a love letter to
that.
Oh my
God! Leo's Missouri accent doesn't get enough love.
He's not even seeing himself in the mirror from this
He's
angle.
looking at us.
What angle is that?
There's something about the atmosphere of this movie that is so great, but I can't pin it on one thing. It's just it's something that Quentin Tarantino does that I can't. It's not like the cinematography. I mean, it is a cinematography, but it's a culmination of everything.
Those two guys.
But I can't pin it on one thing.
I can pin it on one thing, and it's Brad Pitt. I think that the best thing about this movie is Brad Pitt. I think his performance is phenomenal, hilarious. Leo is really, really good, and he shows us a really, really big comedic side. But just Brad Pitt was unbelievably good, next level.
I love the costume design in this movie too.
They really went
the
all
outfits
out.
are
I went right out and bought white
fantastic.
jeans after this.
I was gonna say he looks really good in those white jeans. I really like them. It's cute.
If Brad Pitt can pull it off, then so can I.
Well,
I think this movie definitely has a really strong shot at winning Best Picture. Just for the fact that Quentin Tarantino directed it, you got Leo in the role with Brad Pitt as a supporting, and then it's also just a movie about Hollywood and that industry, and we all know the Academy loves that.
All right, I'm sick of talking about this. Let's move on to number 2. Number 2, The Irishman.
Can we get through this entry without doing any Al Pacino impressions?
Ask him.
So you charge with a gun, with a knife you run.
I mean, I love Martin Scorsese movies, but what he does in this movie is just a culmination of kind of everything he's been working towards.
This scene is heartbreaking.
This might be the most heartbreaking movie scene of 2019, right?
The last scene of this movie unsettled me so deeply, I had to walk around after I watched it.
And it's such a subtle reference to an earlier point in the movie, too.
Exactly.
It's crazy that, I didn't pick up on it the first time I saw it. I was like, wait, why are they ending the movie like this?
I remember at that moment, I was like, it's not going to end like this. And it ended like that. I was like, oh my God. Yeah.
Which is just what Marty, my friend Marty, one day, Marty, call me.
I don't know who you are, we never spoke.
I really think that the best part about this movie is Al Pacino's performance. I've said it before, I'll say it again. He brings the most energy and the most charisma, and I know that it has to do with the nature of his character, but I think also he just brings it all, brings it all to the table, and I really, really love that, and I think that out of any of them, he deserves to be nominated.
It's so easy to hate this guy, though. He comes in wearing sunglasses inside. I get it's Miami, but shirt open, showing all that nasty chest hair, short shorts. No wonder Jimmy Hoffa's making fun of him, I hope he wins Best Director now that Greta's not in the race, so I think he should take it.
Damn, okay. And
Matt's part of the Little Women hive.
Yeah, that I am.
And with that, let's move on to number 1.
Sorry.
Number 1, Parasite. I'm gonna fight.
Oh, that's
Parasite.
cold.
Oh, that's a clean.
Fight for Parasite.
All right, Parasite coming in at number 1. I believe that this movie will win Best Picture, and it deserves to win Best Picture.
Those are two different things, though. Deserve and will. I don't think it's gonna win Best Picture.
This movie is.
I don't.
It's such a phenomenon.
Chicago.
This was everywhere on Twitter, just.
It's such a phenomenal movie from start to finish. The performances, the story, the comedy, the thrilling nature of it. It's just so perfect.
I can see why it's number 1. I had it, kind of quite a bit lower on my personal list.
Way too low.
Way too low. Sure. I mean, in your opinion, whatever. But I just think the fact that it was so comedic, and it's not to punish comedies, but the fact that it was so comedic kind of lowers it a bit for me, in my opinion.
Really?
Yeah.
What? That's such an elitist thing to say.
That's a weird take.
It's not elitist. I just want something a bit more, a bit more gravitas, a bit more
Once Upon a Time in Hollywood is a comedy.
But I didn't put it number 1.
It doesn't matter. It's. I don't think that has anything to do with it. In the same way that Joker can be nominated for Best Picture when it's a comic book movie, which traditionally has been frowned upon, and a comedy like this one is.
But the Joker's a comedy as well. I mean.
The scene where he pulls the Kleenex out of the garbage with the blood on it, and he's like, Oh my God, I was crying.
I'm also just happy to see director Bong breaking into the sort of American conversation in such a big way. With this, he's made like one of the sharpest, most devastating satires in recent years. I mean,
see, and this is a satire.
Yes,
this is
exactly.
a satire that succeeds where Jojo Rabbit would fail because it's not afraid to go all in. It gets messy and it gets crazy, but it is effective.
This isn't Taika Waititi showing up every 30 minutes and being like, "Oh, look at me, I'm goofy."
This is a satire.
There's some big
He actually shows up in Parasite
Some
as Hitler.
big shots taken at Taika right now.
I just think like this list is a mirror of like a satire done really well and then a satire done pretty poorly in my opinion.
And it's all like the payoff is like perfection too. The the climax of the movie without giving up too many spoilies.
All right, and that is the list. Now let's get to a segment we like to call Snubs and Flubs.
Snubs and Flubs.
So for me, I think the biggest snub in the Best Picture category is Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood. It's so good. I'm so upset that it wasn't nominated for Best. Was that too cringy?
That was great. I was dancing along.
There's so much excitement in your voice right now.
Well, because, okay, when Liam and I saw it at TIFF this year, it was just like one of those movies, similarly to Little Women, that made me feel so good. Like, it was just like a special movie that had me in tears the whole time. Matt, what's your snub or flub?
I mean, I could talk for hours about how my girl, Greta Gerwig, was snubbed for Best Director, but I want to bring your attention to a little film called Midsommar. It was horrifying, and I love that, it was Ari Aster's like second movie. Hereditary was getting like such big buzz. That wasn't, recognized by the Academy in any way. This one wasn't either. It's like a perfect time to kind of, for the Academy, be like, look, we're growing up. Let's throw in a horror movie in there.
My pick for snub or flub would be the Safdie brothers' Uncut Gems with The Sandman, Adam Sandler. It should have been nominated for Best Picture, Best Director, and obviously Best Actor for Adam Sandler.
Yeah, and now he's going to make an intentionally bad movie because
Jack
he
and Jill
wasn't
2,
nominated.
son.
Jack and Jill 2, Revenge of the Jack.
This is how I win.
I'm gonna continue the A24 train here, and I'm gonna say that my snub was The Lighthouse, which I've watched multiple times since it came out. It is absolutely criminal that Willem Dafoe wasn't nominated. Just like the cinematography, the way the lighthouse looks in like the establishing shots is insane. I want that poster on my wall.
Yeah. Academy's just got to, focus on them a bit more, because Lighthouse and Midsommar were brilliant.
Clearly, A24 is just killing it. We have 3 A24 picks here.
Yeah, well, we wish A24 the best of luck next year at the 93rd Academy Awards. Thank you guys so much for watching. Which movies do you think were snubbed? Did we get the rank right? Let us know in the comments, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.
This video was made in partnership with Noovie, who are just as obsessed with movies as we are. Head over to Noovie.com for a closer look at all the movies everyone's talking about, plus tickets, trailers, games, and more.
Do you agree with our picks? Check out this other recent clip from WatchMojo, and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.